Hello and welcome to part 7 of my PlayStation 2 collection. We're going to kick off this part with Tomb Raider Legends, which is kind of apt because I've actually been playing the latest Tomb Raider on my 360 recently, and yeah, I'm really enjoying that. But we'll save more talk of that in the future pickups video. But as far as Tomb Raider Legend goes, it was pretty good. It sort of eradicated the bad memories that was Angel of Darkness, which was an absolute train wreck. um, but yeah, I thought this was a decent reboot for what it was, and yeah, it was a very key game in the Tomb Raider franchise because it made Lara Croft relevant again after Angel of Darkness, which almost destroyed the whole series. So yeah, for that it's a pretty important game in the series and a very good one as well. Next up we have Tomb Raider Anniversary, and this is the special collector's edition, and it comes with some nice artwork, as you can see, which is nice. The game itself, a special bonus DVD, which has a pretty good documentary going through the whole history of the Tomb Raider franchise up to this point. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of extra sort of trailers and stuff at the time that came out for every Tomb Raider, and also a soundtrack disc as well. So yeah, overall it's a pretty good collection. I actually managed to get it for like £3, which was an absolute steal considering the what comes with this. But yeah, and the game's sort of a reboot of the original Tomb Raider on the PS1, and yeah, it's really good indeed. Next up we have 007 Nightfire. Now, I played Agent Under Fire when it first came out, and I was a little bit disappointed with it because it felt like a lazy sort of 007 game. It didn't have the voice actors at the time. It sort of had like these renter actors, as I would like to call it, and the character models didn't look anything like they should have done. But yeah, I thought this was better because it had like the official actors, like, for the most part in the game, and it certainly played a lot better than Agent Under Fire, which I thought was a little bit floaty, almost like sort of a little bit unresponsive in. Well, actually, no, not unresponsive. A little bit too sensitive to sort of fly around all over the place, and it was a little bit unrealistic. This one was a little bit more like a 007 game, like GoldenEye basically. And next up we have Everything or Nothing, which is a bit different. It's a like Nightfire. It's not actually based on a movie. It's just a totally original sort of story with a lot of decent fan service, returns of like old James Bond enemies and all that, and a pretty stellar cast. You had likes of Sharon Elizabeth, Willem Dafoe, Pierce Brosnan, of course, and yeah, Richard Kill, the aka Jaws, so, and John Cleese as well. So yeah, and it was a pretty good game. It was different to like the first person shooter James Bond titles, but yeah, it was really good. And next up we have From Russia with Love, with Sean Connery as James Bond this time. I haven't had a chance to play this one, but it looks quite nicely detailed, and yeah, if it's anything like the other titles I've shown you, then yeah, definitely worth playing. Next up we have Deus Ex, or Deus Ex, some people might call it. Again, it's another PS2 port of a PC game, a very successful one at that. I played a little bit of this, and it feels a bit dated now. But I have played the Human Revolution on the 360 and I absolutely love that game. So I kind of want to sort of go and finish this one at some point. But yeah, it's kind of hard to get into because it feels very old school compared to like the new one. But yeah, I'll get around to it eventually. Next we have Genji, which is a pretty interesting game. It's kind of like Onimusha, kind of. I haven't played too much of it, but it's okay so far. It's not very original considering like Onimusha did this like years beforehand, but yeah, it's okay. Next up we have Whiplash, which is a sort of platformer slash adventure game where you play as a weasel and a rabbit, a jackrabbit even, and you basically have to sort of work together to solve like certain puzzles and all that. It's not the greatest game in the world, but it's got some interesting ideas thrown in there. Next up we have Buzz the Music Quiz. This is actually a game of the families. And yeah, it's kind of fun for what it is, but it's it's a quiz more or less. Next we have Matrix, the Path of Neo, and yeah, a lot better than fucking Enter the Matrix, which was like one of the biggest disappointments of all time. It certainly redeemed itself for this title. And yeah, you finally get to play as Neo, which is what everyone wanted with the last game, and never got. And yeah, it certainly feels a lot more finished and refined than End of the Matrix was, which was again just an absolute abomination. Next up we have Shadow Man: The Second Coming, which I've not played, but I played a little bit of the first one recently on the PS1. It's pretty decent. So if it's anything like that, it should be a decent play at least. Next up we have Raymond 3, Hoodlum Havoc, which I've not got round to playing, but after playing a bit of Rayman Origins on the PS3, I have sort of got a taste to sort of get like some of the the older ones. So yeah, I picked this up for fairly cheap. So yeah, look forward to giving it a shot. Next up we have Star Wars Battlefront 2, which everyone seems to love. Like every collection video I see, people have this game, and yeah, it's pretty good. I asked my friends a couple of months ago which one's better, and like they said the second one was a hell of a lot better than the first one, which was a bit yeah, but yeah, it's pretty decent for what it is. Next up we have The Bouncer, which was one of the I think this was one of the launch titles for the PS2. If not, it was very close. A Squaresoft game that surprisingly is an RPG, but it was good. I think a lot of people give this game a lot of slack because like, oh no, it's not an RPG. Oh no, but yeah, it's like a scrolling sort of beat 'em up on a sort of with 3D sort of visuals and all that. But yeah, it's alright. Not that bad. Next up we have 13, which is a cel-shaded first-person shooter. It's got a kind of interesting story around it. You sort of your character wakes up from an amnesia, I'm guessing, and you sort of have to find out who you are and what's going on exactly. And yeah, it's a pretty intriguing title. Put that on one side there. Next up we have Soul Reaver 2, which is part of the Legacy of Kain series, and yeah, it's a pretty good game. It's kind of similar to Tomb Raider in a way. It's sort of like an adventure with like combat and puzzles and all that, and also a I believe it's a Crystal Dynamics game, which is kind of apt because yeah, they're the ones developing the more recent Tomb Raider games. So yeah, it's kind of a. I always think that's kind of a nice fit, you know, because they're good developers, you know. And lastly, for this part we have Aggressive Inline, featuring Ty Chris. Yeah, who? But yeah, it's kind of a. If you're a fan of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games and want something a little bit different, but sort of along the same lines of extreme sports, and then yeah, this one was pretty good compared to like most of the other sort of extreme sports games at the time that were trying to sort of grasp onto the Tony Hawk's like success. This one was one of the better ones, and yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's pretty fun. And yeah, that's it for part 7. Stay tuned for like some of the final parts of my PS2 collection. We're in the home stretch, so yeah, see you again for the next parts.